Hello everyone, I am back to my usual recording time. I was on vacation last week, like I said in the post, and I hope that you enjoyed the whispered shopping vlog that I shared from Disney World. Today's video, I'm going to show you a collection that has been in progress for probably over a decade at this point, and that's my Disney pin collection. I am not going to show all of them because I probably have like 200-ish at this point, which I haven't gotten as many recently, but when I was a Disney cast member like 10-ish years ago, I got quite a few, and that's where most of my collection came from. But today, I'm just going to show you my favorites. I'm also trying a soft-spoken video instead of a whispered video, just as something a little different. I don't know that I'm particularly good at soft-spoken videos because I feel like my speaking voice ends up getting a little too loud, so I'll try to keep it calm and quiet during the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So again, this is not my whole pin collection. These are just some of my favorites because I think it would take too long to get through my whole pin collection. So I'm gonna start with this Easter pin. If I can get it to focus. There we go. So this is from Easter of 2013. This was when I was a cast member. And it has Chip and Dale as bunny rabbits, and then I like this one because there's the egg that opens. I tend to like pins that have movable parts. It just makes them more interesting. And Chip and Dale are my favorite characters. Around the time when I worked at Disney World, I had a guinea pig, and he reminded me of Chip from Chip and Dale. And so a lot of the pins that I got or that people gave me were Chip and Dale because of my guinea pig. Next, I have this Leaf a Legacy pin. So, Leave a Legacy, and I believe I have another pin in this set that I'm going to show you that connects to it. But before all of the Epcot construction that started in like the late 2010s, I think it started around 2018 or 2019, but before then they had these big like stone tablets. I don't know how to describe them, like little stone shapes. And during the 2000 celebration at Epcot, so like 99, 2000, I think possibly on to 2002, people could have their photo taken and it would be like etched onto metal, and they put them onto these stones. There is a bird right outside my door that will not be quiet, and I'm so sorry if you can hear it, but it's distracting me. So if you're wondering why it's taking me long to get through this, but anyway, you could get your picture taken on and then it would be like engraved onto metal and displayed at the front of the park. They removed those like, I want to say like 2018, 2019, but you can still see them. They're like outside the front of the park before you go into Epcot, because it was in the contract of those pictures that they had to be displayed for a certain number of years. And my college program location was one of the places where people could go to look up the location of their picture. So even though I did not have a picture, that was something that I felt connected to because we would look up other people's pictures. Alright, and the next one. So this is a more recent-ish pin. This is Stitch, and he is at the exit to Space Mountain at Disney World. There are all of these scenes, I guess. They're not quite dioramas because they're bigger than dioramas, but these like scenes of like futuristic space settings. And some of them are inspired by a ride that used to be at Epcot that is no longer there called Horizons. And so this last scene is my favorite because it has a robot butler, not the same robot butler from Horizons, but it's inspired by Horizons. And then there's a robot dog that is in one of the earlier scenes. So I wanted to get this pin because it's not just the usual Space Mountain spaceship, but it's showing some details that are very unique to the Disney World Space Mountain and that might not be there forever. So this kind of commemorates them in the event that they're ever taken away. And then we have this Skyliner pin. So in 2021, one of my friends was having her bachelorette weekend at Disney World. We had both worked at Disney World together. Like she was my roommate when I worked at Disney World, so it made sense for her bachelorette to be there. But anyway, in the first night of the bachelorette weekend, I stayed at the Caribbean Beach Resort. And at that time they were still building the Skyliner station that is there now. So to apologize for the construction noise in all of the buildings that were close to where the Skyliner would eventually be, they put this Skyliner pin, but it's actually quite large. Like compared to other pins, it's actually quite large and very detailed, and I just really like it because it was a free pin. Well, I mean, not free because I paid for the room, but Disney didn't have to give us pins as an apology for the noise. They could just be like, well, the noise happens. So I thought that this was kind of cool. This pin is from the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights at Hollywood Studios. So every year, starting from about the late 90s up until 2015, they would put this lights collection that belonged to the Osborne family. This family had so many Christmas lights. The story goes that the daughter was always asking the father to like decorate, and so he would go all out, but their neighbors in their town, and I think they were from Arkansas, didn't like all the traffic that it brought to their street, understandably. So Disney bought I think they donated to Disney, not bought, their lights collection, and they would display them on the streets of America in Hollywood Studios. That area is now Galaxy's Edge, and so they stopped doing the Spectacle of Lights when they started construction on Galaxy's Edge. So 2015 was the last year, but 2012 was the year when I did my college program at Disney World. And when I was on my college program before, I was a full cast member. I mean, I was a cast member, but I guess before I was considered like a full-time status cast member. I worked in merchandise, and I used to always pick up merchandise shifts in Hollywood Studios so that I could see them flick the big switch, turn the lights on every night, and it was a lot of fun. Like I just mentioned that I was a cast member, I got this one when I was a cast member from the cast store. It just says proud to be a cast member, Disney Parks, Chippendale. And I collect Chippendale pins, so of course I had to get this one to add to my collection. This is from Mission Space. This one is in a little bit of rough shape, but this is from Mission Space in Epcot, and it turns. So we've got Chip on the ride on one side, and then we've got Dale on the ride on the other side. This came out in a like mystery box set of pins that they did for Epcot's 30th anniversary in 2012. I tried to get the whole set because that was when I was on my college program, and I was like based in Epcot, and I got most of them. You'll see a few others of those pins. Yeah, I think there's like 2 more from that set that I'm gonna show, but this one is one of my favorites because it has the chipmunks, of course, and I like that it has that spinning detail in the middle. This is another one that was from that mystery set. So Universe of Energy, it is now Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is one of my favorite rides. But back in the day, it used to be this slow-moving, like theater show, kind of. Like it was like a theater, but then the rows of seats would break up into ride vehicles, and they would go through this scene with dinosaurs. When it first opened, it was like very serious, but then in the mid-90s, they changed it a little, and they added videos with Ellen DeGeneres, and so that added a little bit of humor to it. It was one of those rides that most people didn't like because it was kind of boring, and it was like a kidnap ride because it was about 45 minutes long in the dark, but I thought it was a classic. But I mean, I am definitely glad that they replaced it with Cosmic Rewind, though. I think that that's definitely a fitting replacement. This pin is from the Norway Pavilion in Epcot World Showcase. This is from Maelstrom, which was the boat ride that existed in Norway before the Frozen ride. This was a line from the ride. It says, "You are not the first to pass this way, nor will you be the last." That's something that it told you towards the beginning. And then when you open it, you see Maelstrom, 25th anniversary, a high seas Norwegian adventure, and we've got Donald Duck as a Viking in the boat that you would ride in, and then there's like a troll tree that was on the ride. The boats pretty much stayed the same when they changed it to the Frozen ride because it's still a boat ride. But I really wanted to get this one, both because I had worked in Epcot, but also because Maelstrom opened the year that I was born. So the 25th anniversary of the ride was my 25th birthday. That was during the time when I was working at Disney, and I just thought it was really cool that it was like a major anniversary of a ride that I share a birthday with. Like almost exact birthday. Like my birthday's the end of June and it opened like June 12th. So almost exactly shared a birthday with. This is another Epcot pin. A lot of my pins are either from Epcot, Hollywood Studios, or Disney's California Adventure. Epcot and Hollywood Studios are the parks where I worked the most. And then California Adventure is, I just like how quirky it is. But this is from the Candlelight Processional. So every year at Epcot, they have a celebrity guest that comes. There's like a choir of cast members that you have to audition for, and the celebrity guest will read the Christmas story and the cast members will sing. So the 20th anniversary of that event was in 2013, which was during the time when I was a cast member and working at Epcot. And of course, the chipmunks are in it. So when I was a cast member, I used to get pretty much every like event pin that had Chip and Dale in it, just because I had the cast member discount, and so I was like, why not add to my collection? This was another mystery set from the Epcot 30th anniversary in 2012. It was Figment, And then he was with some icon of one of the original ride pavilions, and it would have a different color sparkly background. I have them all, but I'm not sure. They're not all in the same place right now, so they won't all be in this video, but I think you'll probably see a couple. But anyway, this is the Robot Butler in Horizons. Like I mentioned at the end of Space Mountain, how the like futuristic scenes were inspired by Horizons. This is the actual Robot Butler from Horizons. This is from the Grand Californian Hotel at Disneyland. I have never stayed there. It is pretty expensive. One day it would be nice to stay there, but every time that we think like, oh, let's do it, we realize that we could stay for multiple nights at a less expensive hotel, so financially it hasn't made sense. But I do like Disneyland, and I love that Chip and Dale appear a lot in Grand Californian Hotel. Like they do a character breakfast called The Story. It's the Storytellers Cafe. So they are at Grand Californian Hotel a lot, so I got this pin because they're on it. And I've like been there, and we've done the breakfast buffet and stuff at the Grand Californian, even though we haven't stayed there. This is the Living with the Land boat ride pin. This is another Epcot pin. One thing that was really cool about this pin is that when you get pins, when you purchase pins at the park, they're on these like backing cards. And the backing card that this pin came on, it was like a biodegradable pin, and it had like seeds that were in it, so you could like plant the backing card and a plant would grow. And so we've got Chip and Dale holding the Mickey-shaped pumpkin that is in the greenhouse, and you can see the windows that you go under for the greenhouse boat tour, and then Mickey and Minnie are riding in the boat. California Adventure is next. One thing that I really don't like that Disney merchandise has been doing lately is that there's been like a homogenization of Disney World and Disneyland merchandise, and I'm sure that that's for cost reasons. So it'll be like the same design on sweatshirts and stuff, but it'll just say Disneyland or Disney World. You don't very often see specific California Adventure merchandise anymore. They might be bringing it back, because I know at Disney World for the longest time it was just like generic Disney World merchandise, and now they're bringing back merchandise that has the actual park names like Hollywood Studios and Epcot and stuff like that. But I just feel like I've seen less and less specific California Adventure merchandise over the years, and so I grabbed this one when I saw it. But this is from a while ago, because it's hard to see, but it says Paradise Pier instead of Pixar Pier, and it was changed over to Pixar Pier, like, oh my god, I don't know the exact year, but it's been a while. These are the Leave a Legacy plaques that I was talking about. This is what the pictures would look like. So they would take a picture, and then they would kind of like engrave the picture onto this metal plaque, and then those would be on the stone slab thingies in front of the park. If you had one of these taken, you can still view them outside the front of Epcot, but when they were inside the park, there was a computer in one of the stores where I worked on my college program, and people could give us their name, and it would bring up what the location of their Leave a Legacy plaque was. And so this was in the mystery set that this one came in, and that the Universe of Energy one came in. And I was glad that I got this one, because it reminds me of one of the places where I worked. So there's another Grand Californian Hotel and Spa pin with the chipmunks. They're roasting acorns. This kind of reminds me of Fort Wilderness at Disney World because you can actually like roast marshmallows at a campfire that the chipmunks host. But I saw this one when I was out in California, and I had to get it to add to my chipmunk collection. This pin was from my college program, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So this is the Halloween party that they have at Magic Kingdom every year. I had never really been to the parks around Halloween time until I worked there. So this was my first time going to the Halloween party, and I loved that the pin, they usually have multiple pins for the event, but this one was Chip 'n Dale. The party is so fun. The prices have been going up so much, and it's so expensive, so I haven't been back to it for quite a few years, because like it just doesn't feel like it's worth the money that it used to be. But it's fun, and you can dress up and get so much candy in the parks. This was the 30th anniversary of Hollywood Studios, which studios opened in 1989, so this would have been in 2019. And Hollywood Studios was one of the parks where I worked. I worked there in guest relations for a couple years. So I wanted to come for the anniversary to celebrate, and this actually came in like a big pin set of multiple characters. I gave some away to friends and I traded some, but I liked the BB-8 represents Galaxy's Edge, so I kept this one. I think we just have a few more. Yeah, we have 4 more. This is another pin from that Figment 30th anniversary set. This is Mickey in his like futuristic spacesuit outfit that he used to wear at Epcot in the 80s and I believe early 90s as well. Originally when Epcot was opened, Figment was intended to be like their version of Mickey Mouse, and you weren't going to see Mickey in the parks, but they changed it and they brought him over, and he was all futuristic to match the theme. This is from Frozen's opening day in 2013. I was working at Hollywood Studios at the time, which ended up being the park that got a lot of the big Frozen promotion. I got this like before I knew anything about the movie. I just thought that it was cool that you see it's like it sticks out like a snow globe. I didn't know who Olaf or any of the characters were at this point, but I decided that I wanted to get this one because I thought it looked cool. And for a while it was a very hot commodity because there wasn't very much Frozen merch at Disney. So it's kind of cool that I got this from opening day back in 2013. We got 2 more. This is a, it's like a Star Wars / Pirates of the Caribbean pin. There was a set that came out of Star Wars characters riding classic Disney rides. This one says, I have a really bad feeling about this, which was Han Solo's classic line. And there's Chewie in the boat wearing Mickey ears, and then there's Leia and Han. And then they're on Pirates of the Caribbean. I really liked this pin, both because it's like a mashup of Star Wars and Disney, but also I like that they have Leia in her like Cloud City outfit, because normally on pins it's either her original trilogy outfit, like the white robe with the buns, or like from the sequels as like General Leia, so you don't really see her other outfits. So I thought this one was unique. And finally, from the 60th anniversary of Disneyland in 2015, we have this sparkly Disney tea pin. My best friend still lives in California. I sadly do not anymore, but every once in a while I'll go back and visit her and we'll go to Disneyland. And so this was extra special because I hadn't been in a while, and it was the 60th anniversary, and it was like the diamond anniversary, so everything was very sparkly. So these are my pins. I like the sounds that they make when they kind of rub against each other. I've been trying to like stack them on each other to make good ASMR sounds for the video. I do have a larger collection. I have like a whole Epcot section. I have like a whole Hollywood Studios section. And I have more Chipmunks pins. So if you would be interested in seeing them, that's definitely something that I could do in a future video. I also have a trading pin lanyard where I put the pins that I take to the parks to trade, and I could show those as well. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you could consider subscribing to my channel or hitting that like button. If you have any requests for future videos, please leave them in the comments and I will do what I can do. So have a great evening and have a great week.